Hello, gorgeous beings, and welcome back with another episode with me. And we are talking about the topic of disconnection today. First of all, what do I mean with disconnection? Second of all, why do we need to talk about it? And third of all, how can we come back from it? And in all of that, I obviously will also tie in my own stories because we all come here a little bit to hear stories because stories make the life more fun and meaningful. Aren't I right? So, welcome. My name is Jennifer Nadia. I am here to guide women to reconnect with their truth, power, and radiance so they can live a fulfilled life in their sovereign power. So, I talk about this because I realize many women, and not just women, but I'm mainly here to guide women at the moment, feel disconnected and don't even know about that. They don't understand why that happens. They don't even understand that this is a concept that can happen because we live in a society where most people are very disconnected from themselves. It's not something that is valued because there is kind of guidebooks. This is how you have to follow, and then you will be happy and fulfilled in life. You gotta have children at that age, you gotta have a house and da 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 da. But if that is not your innate truth, you will feel very much not connected to this. You will feel scattered, you will feel lost, right? So you might feel numb, exhausted, and stuck in life, and it just feels like something doesn't work out and something just doesn't feel right. But you cannot get there. You might feel exhausted no matter how much you sleep. You might just feel innately unhappy with how things go in life. And it's just this feeling of something feels off. Another way how we notice it is this feeling of feeling weird in your body. You don't really understand what is going on, especially as women in our cycle. You have no idea what's going on. There is a lot of period pain you have. There is just this weirdness of like, what is going on? And then women, when they get into menopause, what the hell is going on here? So it's just the body as a stranger. This is not a nice feeling, and this is not what we want, right? And another one, which I very much also know, is this constantly doubting myself or ourselves. No matter what you do, the doubt keeps on creeping back in. And this is often the case when we're not feeling connected to our truth, to our sparks, to our passion, to our aliveness, and just to our gorgeous beings that we are. So, a little bit of my story here. What happened to me or how I felt because I've been feeling disconnected most of my life. I grew up in a family that was a little bit different to me. I mean, I feel like I was the sparkling bird inside of not so sparkling birds. Not that there is a hierarchy in that, but it's just I felt different. I was a very emotional and sensitive child early on. I was living more in my fantasy world than I wanted to live in reality. I also needed a lot of space and time for myself after especially a lot of social gatherings. I can remember even as early as like 5 or 6 that when there was a big social gathering, and I mean, my family, the family gatherings were like 50, 60 people, I've started feeling disconnected from my brain. Back then, I always felt like there was kind of um a cotton in my brain. I couldn't really think, I couldn't function, I wasn't really there. And this what brought me through it. So this is a dissociation. I feel way of feeling numb because I didn't know how to function in a gathering this big because there's so many people, there's so many different roles I need to play to please everyone. How is that not the biggest disconnection we know? This be feeling like we need to please everyone and we need to make everyone happy, and in this process we forget ourselves, right? So that was me mainly throughout my life, not knowing what I wanted to do, not knowing how to dress. I just followed everyone else around me, what they were doing, and I followed what my parents told me to do. And I kind of felt dead inside. There was just like something really felt gray, there was the opposite of a fire. It was ash, cold ash within me. And it was very hard to function like that. Obviously, like who wants to function like that? So it took me many, many years to start connecting back to what is actually in my core. What is the voice in my core telling me, and what is it that I want to do? And how do I want to dress? And how do I want to be? And how do I want to show up in this world? Which is the opposite, is coming back to ourselves. So a reason why do we get disconnected? I mean, first of all, like I said, we live in a society that just lives the example of being disconnected because it is more value to follow certain standards than actually living your truth and following your own inner guidance, because it's more easy if we're all like sheep following the same. And so we as humans become a pattern that can be followed. That's good for marketing, that's good for psychology, that's good for sales. So people who are not following this pattern, that makes it more difficult. And I think innately we are all very colorful beings that react in different ways, even though we're as humans, we're still very much following certain orders. And so if we are just feeling like this is how we need to live our life, I think I've already mentioned it, but it's this thing of like, by the age of 30, you need to be married, you need to have children, you need to have a house, and you need to have a dog to be happy. Let me tell you, I'm 36, I have nothing of this. And I'm happy. And there is days where I'm not happy, which is very normal, I would say. But yes, so it's a society thing, it's a family thing. We all have our own stories and our own families that we grew up in that told us how to be very early on. We go to school where we all have to follow the same order, we all have to learn the same things, and we all get tested if we can learn the same things fast enough, right? So we get marked if we're not following this. There's even like this thing very early on. We certain children get put into special schools because we say that they're not keeping up. And I'm like, what are they not keeping up? Maybe they just need a little bit longer. What's wrong about that? Maybe they actually live innately their childhood in this dreamlike state, because children don't need to be forced to learn. Children should be excited to learn. So yes, so that is a huge, huge thing. Like we cannot forget about the role society has in anything that we're struggling with, that we're working through, anything that is just there, and that creates this disconnection. So through all of that, we learn to suppress what we innately feel, our emotions. We learn to perform a certain role. We put on a mask, and this is how we need to behave, and this is how I need to show up. Because only if I show up in this way, I am accepted, I'm loved, I can be, and I belong. Because if we are falling out of this, roles, masks, and everything, then we become different. And different usually means that this can be a bit more difficult to fit into the normal society structure. So for some people, it becomes easier to perform and put on a mask, and then at least you fit in. But let me tell you, it doesn't make you happy in the long run. Most likely, it doesn't even make you happy in the first run. It doesn't make you happy because you have to suppress parts within you. Emotions, feelings, desires, passions, everything needs to be suppressed within you. And it does give this feeling of uh, putting a lid on a pan that like water that is boiling instead of turning off. Actually, not even turning it off. I would say turn it full on, take the lid off, and let this water spill everywhere. And maybe that creates like a super gorgeous, beautiful pattern of messy chaos. But that's what we humans are. We are a little bit messy chaos, and that's gorgeous. So, being disconnected isn't our fault. It is a strategy we have created to fit in. So, it has become a survival strategy. And this works kind of until it doesn't, until we start feeling so dead, until we start feeling so like off with that. And that often happens. People is like, you can go until here, and then suddenly it doesn't work anymore, and you blow up, right? So When did that happen for me, that blow up? I definitely would say in my early 20s, I was still following the role society gave me and the path that was laid out in front of me until in my early 20s when I was in a job. I was 23, I was in a job and I was like going to work every day and super bored. I couldn't wait until till the workday was finished and then it was finally weekend and it just felt I can remember actually most jobs I had, especially as in when I was working in offices, I was done with my workday like 1 hour into starting my workday. How insane is that? I started my work, let's say at 8, at 9 I was done with my work. And I often had to tell people, hey, I need more work, I'm bored, but they didn't do anything. So you're kind of just sitting there. Yes, you're getting paid, but it's boring ass. Like, let me tell you, after a while, you've read all Wikipedia entrances, you have done any research, you've done your written your emails, it just gets boring. So I started feeling super depleted and super bored. And I was like, is this what the rest of my life is going to look like until I'm retired? Like, shoot me now. I went traveling with 23 for 3 weeks with a friend, and I met some lovely people there that told me, hey, I'm sorry, but you're way too young to be this unhappy in your life. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. Like, come on, I can't be this unhappy. Like, how much time in our life does work make up? So if I'm not happy with my work and my work life, something needs to change. So I went back in the airplane and was like, okay, I'm making a commitment here. I'm going to change something in my life. I don't want to feel like this the rest of my life. I came back, I quit this job, and I took on a temporary job. And I was like, okay, I'm going to save up as much money as I can. And lucky I'm in Switzerland, so that's a possibility in 1 year. And then I'm going to go travel. And this was the best decision I could make. First of all, I wasn't connected with the workspace that much anymore because I knew it was just a temporary job. And I still find something that was quite pleasurable and fun. And after this 1 year, I went traveling. I bought a one-way ticket and I left. I left my family. I left Switzerland, the society, the village, and everything. And this was very much needed because it was the first time in my life I shed all these chains that were tying me back and telling me who to be and what to do and how to act. And I really was like, okay, something needs to change here. And that's when I started tapping into and understanding that I had very different interests and I had a lot of interests and I had a lot of excitement and a lot of things I wanted to learn. And from that day forward, I was following my passion more and more. It still took many, many years until I was where I am now, but I started following my passion because my passion was driving me. My passion was what was moving me. My passion was what made me feel excited and alive and lit up. And this is what I want to see more people stepping into because I am tired of seeing so many people walking this world being unhappy with what they do, being unhappy with the work, the job they do, being unhappy in their relationships. It's like you're all too young. Yes, there is things we need to work on, and yes, there is things we need to learn to accept. But I don't think we should accept to be unhappy in our lives. That doesn't work for me. So, what did I do to slowly come back to myself, which is also something that I can invite others to do? First of all, we start listening to our bodies. What does my body desire? And most often, it desires more rest. We're moving way too much. We're pushing ourselves way too much. Rest. And I'm not telling you sit on the couch and watch Netflix, but rest is like softness, soothness, a bath, something nice to eat. I don't know, just something. Listen to your body. Start learning to listen to it. Notice your emotions. And without having to change anything about it, what are you feeling? Can you allow this emotion to, can you allow your emotions to be felt? Can you find beauty and gorgeousness in that? And I will definitely talk more about emotions because it's such a dear topic to mine. But like right now, let's leave it at that. And then ask yourself, what is it that I really and truly want? You can ask that in every single moment. And here again, there is a trap we can fall into, and we can just follow the excitement of the moment, and we never do the intense work that we also should be doing. But it's about this, what do I truly want? Do I truly want this or not? And then check in if it's a no. Okay, am I just escaping or not? That's another topic. But what do I truly want? And then spend more time with your true desires and nature and beauty and gorgeousness and ease and pleasurable things instead of just pushing yourself. And so here, watch out that you're not doing escapism. We're all good. Is it that you truly want to watch 2 hours of reels on Instagram? No, I don't think so. What is it that you truly want? So these are just very easy and simple steps, and obviously there is way more, but let's leave it with that. Simplicity is the key today. So I feel like I need to close this because the light is dimming here and it's getting late. So I just want to say being disconnected is not the end of the story. It is a moment that we can realize and remember that everything can start from this. So if we notice that we are disconnected, this is the first step of many, and then we can start moving from there. You can start finding inspiration. You can start dropping in with these 4 little steps that I shared with you before. And I strongly believe that every single person out there deserves to feel at home within themselves, in their body, with their emotions, and with their truth, and to live this and to show this because it's gorgeous and it's beautiful, and it's what we deserve. It's what this world deserves because I think it actually makes the world a better place, how cheesy ever that sounds. So anyway, long story short, if that speaks to you, then just follow my spaces. I'm going to speak way more about all of these topics because I think it's very important, and I always have beautiful offers for you out there that you can check in and tune in, and I really go a little bit deeper, step by step by step. We start with inspiration and then we see how everything goes from there. So, and my true passionate desire here is to support anyone who feels the calling, to support you to come back to yourself, to find your home within you, to light that fire, to find that passion, to find this power, this radiance within you that we are all carrying. So if you are feeling that call, if you feel inspired, reach out to me. And I wish you a lovely day. And obviously, leave comments, leave your questions. I'm always happy to answer everything. So, have a lovely day. Thank you so much for tuning in.